Most people believe becoming a millionaire starts with earning more money. It sounds obvious. It's also one of the most expensive financial myths you'll ever believe. Jake earns $85,000 a year. Marcus earns $61,000. If you had to bet which one retires wealthy, who would you choose? Almost everyone chooses Jake. Almost everyone loses that bet. Jake does everything we're told successful people should do. He gets promoted faster. His raises are bigger. He upgrades to a nicer apartment. He drives a newer SUV. Every year, his life looks more successful. Marcus looks like he's falling behind. He still drives the same Honda he's owned for years. He shares an apartment with a roommate. He packs his lunch. His vacations are road trips instead of flights. Nothing about his lifestyle suggests future wealth. Then life happens. 30 birthdays, thousands of paychecks, a few recessions, bull markets, bear markets, layoffs, raises, unexpected bills. And when it's all over, Marcus quietly reaches financial freedom. Jake is still working because he has to. Here's the part that's almost impossible to believe. Jake earned more money almost every single year, same age, same city, similar student loans. No inheritance, no business, no lottery ticket. So where did the difference come from? It wasn't Bitcoin. It wasn't picking the perfect stock. It wasn't buying real estate at exactly the right time. The difference started long before either of them made their first investment. It began with one invisible decision, repeated every time they got paid. A decision most people make without ever thinking about it. Over the next 30 years, that single decision quietly determined who built wealth and who only looked wealthy. Today, we're going to break down exactly what that decision is, why high income alone rarely creates financial freedom, how ordinary earners quietly become millionaires while many high earners never do. It all started with their first real paycheck. Year 1. Jake finally feels like he's made it. His new salary gives him room to breathe. Naturally, his lifestyle begins to grow. He upgrades to a nicer apartment. He leases a new SUV. He replaces his phone every year. He adds a few streaming subscriptions. He travels more often. None of those decisions are reckless. They're exactly what most people do when their income increases. Marcus doesn't have that luxury. Making $61,000 leaves little room for upgrades. So he keeps driving his used Honda, keeps splitting rent with a roommate, keeps his vacations simple. From the outside, Jake looks successful. Marcus looks average. But appearances hide one number that matters far more than salary: the percentage of income they never spend. Jake saves about 5% of his paycheck. He contributes enough to receive his company's 401k match, and occasionally invests a little extra. By the end of the year, he has invested roughly $4,000. Marcus does something different. Before he buys anything, he pays his future self first. The day his paycheck arrives, money automatically leaves his checking account and flows straight into retirement accounts and low-cost index funds. He saves roughly 22% of his income. By the end of the year, he has invested nearly $13,000. Think about that. The man earning $24,000 less invested more than 3 times as much. Not because he found extra money, because he made one decision before temptation ever had a chance to appear. And that single decision quietly changes the next 30 years of his life. Most people believe wealth is created by finding extraordinary investments. History suggests something much less exciting. The stock market has never consistently rewarded brilliance. It has rewarded consistency. Marcus doesn't chase hot stocks. He doesn't spend hours watching financial news. He buys simple, low-cost index funds and keeps buying them every month, whether markets are rising or falling. Jake tells himself something millions of people say every year: "I'll invest more once I make a little more money." It sounds reasonable, but hidden inside that sentence is one dangerous assumption: that saving becomes easier as income rises. In reality, for most people, spending rises even faster, and that's where the real gap begins. 3 years later, Jake gets promoted. His salary climbs to nearly $95,000 a year. Friends congratulate him. His parents are proud. On paper, everything is moving in the right direction. But something else grows with every raise: his spending. The apartment gets bigger, dining out becomes routine. The leased SUV becomes a luxury crossover. Small upgrades slowly turn into permanent monthly expenses. He isn't being irresponsible, he's simply experiencing something almost everyone experiences without noticing. Economists call it lifestyle inflation. The moment yesterday's luxury starts feeling like today's necessity. Marcus gets raises too. They're smaller, but every time his income increases, he follows one simple rule. Half of every raise goes to his future before he ever sees it. The other half improves his lifestyle. His life gets better, his investments grow faster. Because the money moves automatically, he never feels like he's making a sacrifice. That's the power of a system. It removes the need for constant self-control. By now, Jake earns nearly $30,000 more each year. Yet Marcus continues investing, significantly more every month. One man's income improved, the other man's financial system improved. Those are not the same thing. Imagine meeting them at age 31. You'd almost certainly think Jake was wealthier. His apartment looks better, his car is newer, his vacations fill Instagram. Marcus still appears ordinary, and that's exactly why so many people misunderstand wealth. Visible wealth and actual wealth often move in opposite directions. The people spending the most usually look the richest. The people quietly buying assets often look surprisingly average. Because real wealth is invisible. It's the portfolio no one sees, the retirement account no one talks about, the emergency fund sitting quietly in a savings account, the investments working while everyone else sleeps. By the time wealth becomes visible, it has usually been invisible for decades. 5 years pass. Neither man feels rich. That's another misconception about money. Building wealth rarely feels dramatic. For a long time, progress feels almost boring. Jake keeps investing through his company's 401k plan. By age 33, his portfolio has grown to around $45,000. That's respectable, far ahead of many people his age. Marcus quietly passes $120,000. Not because he earned spectacular returns, not because he discovered a secret strategy, because every paycheck kept following the same path. Earn, invest, repeat. Month after month, year after year, without requiring motivation, without relying on discipline. That's what automation really buys you. Not higher returns, consistency. And in investing, consistency beats intensity almost every time. Most people think financial success comes from making smarter decisions. In reality, it often comes from making fewer decisions. Marcus doesn't wake up every month asking whether he should invest. That decision was made years ago. His system keeps working, whether he's busy, stressed, happy, or distracted. Jake, meanwhile, still believes he'll save more later. After the next promotion, after the next bonus, after life becomes a little less expensive. But life has a habit of giving every extra dollar a new job. And if you don't assign that dollar a job in your future, your lifestyle will happily spend it today. Then life does what life always does. It gets expensive. Jake gets married. A few years later, he and his wife welcome their first child. Almost overnight, new expenses begin showing up everywhere. Daycare, medical bills, a bigger home, insurance, college savings. Suddenly, every dollar already has somewhere to go. Jake tells himself he'll increase his retirement contributions next year, once things settle down. But they never do. Because every stage of life simply introduces another bill. Marcus reaches those same milestones: marriage, children, unexpected expenses. His life isn't easier. The difference is, his investing never depends on finding the perfect moment. Years earlier, he quietly built a rule that protects him. Every raise automatically increases his investments. Not all of it. Just enough to keep his future moving forward while his lifestyle improves too. He never feels deprived because he never asks his future to wait. Then everything changes. The economy begins to slow. Companies freeze hiring, layoffs spread across the country. Jake loses his job. His emergency savings cover only a few months of essential expenses. His retirement contributions stop immediately. To keep paying the mortgage and provide for his family, he even sells part of his investment portfolio. Not because he wants to, because groceries can't be paid with patience. A few months later, Marcus loses his job too. Same recession, same uncertainty, same fear. But years earlier, he quietly built an emergency fund large enough to cover nearly a full year of essential living expenses. Instead of selling investments, his family adjusts. Fewer vacations, less dining out, big purchases can wait. His portfolio stays exactly where it is. When he finds another job, the automatic investments simply begin again. Neither man controlled the recession. Neither man controlled losing a job. But one of them controlled what happened before the crisis ever arrived. And that preparation changed everything. As if losing a job wasn't enough, the market crashes. Headlines turn darker every day. Every news alert feels worse than the last. Jake can't stop checking his retirement account. Every time he logs in, the balance is lower. Watching years of savings disappear is emotionally exhausting. Eventually, he decides to pause his extra investments, just until things feel safer. It sounds reasonable. After all, why keep buying something that's still falling? Marcus sees the very same headlines, the same red numbers, the same uncertainty, the same fear. Then he closes the app. His investment plan doesn't change. Every 2 weeks, money continues flowing into the market, exactly as it always has. The only difference is, those same dollars now buy more shares than before. Months later, the market begins to recover. Years later, those purchases made during the downturn become some of the strongest performing investments in his entire portfolio. That's one of the greatest paradoxes of investing. The moments that feel the worst often become the moments that matter most, but only for the people who keep buying. By the time Jake turns 38, his career is finally back on track. His investment portfolio grows to roughly $120,000. That's a real accomplishment. Many people never reach that point. Marcus quietly passes $350,000. By now, the difference can no longer be explained by income alone. It's the result of hundreds of ordinary decisions, repeated consistently for nearly a decade. Compounding isn't just something money does. Habits compound. So do delays. Every year, Jake postponed increasing his savings, became a year his future investments never had the chance to grow. And that's the hidden cost of waiting, not what you lose today, but everything tomorrow never gets the chance to become. By their mid-40s, the numbers start behaving differently. Jake now earns around $145,000 a year. He's respected at work. His career has been a success by almost every traditional measure. Marcus still earns less. A comfortable income, but nothing extraordinary. If you met them today and only knew their salaries, you'd probably still bet on Jake. Most people would, because salary is the easiest number to see, but it's rarely the number that determines financial freedom. Jake's investment portfolio has grown to roughly $260,000. Marcus is approaching $700,000. Neither man suddenly became a brilliant investor. Neither discovered a hidden opportunity. The market treated them exactly the same. The difference was never the market. For nearly 20 years, Marcus kept feeding the same system. Now, the system begins feeding itself. This is when compounding becomes almost unbelievable. In the beginning, every dollar in Marcus's portfolio came directly from his paycheck. Now, during a good year, his investments can earn more than he personally contributes. Think about that. Money he invested years ago is now working harder than he is. That's the moment wealth changes your relationship with work. Not because you stop working, because work is no longer your only source of financial progress. Jake eventually reaches the same realization, but from a much smaller foundation. And compounding follows one simple rule. It multiplies whatever you've already built. A small base grows slowly. A large base begins accelerating almost on its own. Time doesn't reward the highest income. It rewards the longest consistency. A few years later, Jake receives the biggest raise of his career. For years, he believed this salary would finally make saving easy. Instead, it teaches him a painful lesson. A bigger paycheck can improve your lifestyle overnight. It cannot recover years of inconsistent investing. For the first time, he calculates how much he'll actually need to retire comfortably. The answer surprises him. He now has to save far more aggressively than ever before. Not because he failed, because time has quietly become his most valuable asset. And it's the one thing he can never buy back. Marcus receives raises too. He travels more, moves into a larger home, spends more freely than he ever did in his 20s. But his lifestyle expanded after his investing system was already strong. That's the sequence most people reverse. They upgrade their lifestyle first and hope they'll save whatever is left. Marcus saved first, then enjoyed what remained. That simple difference shaped everything that followed. Then, on an ordinary Tuesday evening, Marcus opens his retirement account. The balance reads $1 million. No celebration, no dramatic music, no life-changing moment. He looks at the number for a few quiet seconds, smiles, and closes the app. The next morning, he goes to work exactly as usual. Because becoming a millionaire rarely feels dramatic. More often, it's the result of thousands of ordinary decisions, repeated consistently, long before anyone notices the outcome. And that's the biggest myth about wealth. People always ask, how much do you make? Very few ask the better question. How much of what you make starts working for your future before you can spend it? That number predicts far more than salary ever will. A higher income creates opportunity. It does not guarantee wealth. Every year, high-income professionals live paycheck to paycheck. And every year, teachers, nurses, engineers, mechanics, accountants, and countless ordinary workers quietly retire with seven-figure portfolios. Not because they earned extraordinary incomes, because they consistently invested a meaningful portion of ordinary ones. Researchers studying self-made millionaires have found the same pattern again and again. Not extraordinary returns, not perfect timing, not genius, consistency. Because motivation fades, willpower gets tired, but systems keep running. So before you tell yourself, I'll start investing after my next raise, ask yourself a different question. If your income doubled tomorrow, how much of that increase would quietly become a bigger lifestyle? And how much would begin buying your future freedom? Because that's the decision that compounds. Not the raise, the system. Jake believed a bigger paycheck would eventually make saving easy. Marcus built a system that made saving automatic. 30 years later, their salaries told one story, their habits told another. And in the end, habits won. You don't become wealthy by earning more than everyone else. You become wealthy by consistently keeping more than yesterday's version of yourself and giving that money enough time to grow. That's how ordinary incomes quietly become extraordinary wealth. Thanks for watching. At John Ma Wealth, we explore timeless ideas about money, investing, and building lasting wealth. If you found this video valuable, a like helps more people discover this video. And if you're serious about building lasting wealth, subscribe. Until next time, keep learning, keep investing, and keep building.